Most days, you mine dust while the treasure blazes beneath your feet. You let moods drag you like chains, and the world treats you accordingly. But when you train your mind to command emotion, emotion becomes your engine, and reality bends to the track you lay. The sages knew it. Solomon chose wisdom over wealth, and wealth knelt. Hill carved the law of definiteness, and kings of industry obeyed it. Today you choose command over chaos, and circumstances will reorganize around your word. Stand as if God breathes through you. Declare the result before the evidence, and watch the evidence race to meet your voice. The truth is this: emotions do not govern you unless you permit them to govern. They are not your master. They are fuel. And fuel, when directed by a definite purpose, becomes the engine of transformation. Fuel without direction burns wildly and consumes everything. Fuel harnessed to a clear aim moves mountains. The difference between the man who bends reality and the man bent by it is not talent, it is not luck, it is not favor. It is the presence of a dominant thought, backed by decision, repeated with emotion, and obeyed without retreat. Command your mind, and you command your circumstances. Lose your mind to drift, and you lose everything. I am not here to comfort you. I am here to awaken you. You possess within you the capacity to train your emotions as a general trains his army, to direct your thoughts as an architect directs steel, to bend the world to your vision, not through force, but through internal law. But this power lies dormant in most men because they were never told it exists. They were never shown the mechanism. They were never given the ritual. I will give it to you now, not as theory, not as inspiration, as instruction, as law. As the very architecture that built fortunes, shaped nations, and carved names into history. What you are about to hear is not a single idea. It is a system, a way of being, a daily discipline that transforms emotion, from tyrant to servant, and thought from passenger to king. You will learn how a definite purpose anchors every emotion to productive action, how autosuggestion programs the subconscious to obey your command, how habit and rhythm turn sporadic effort into inevitable results, how decision that burns bridges eliminates hesitation and forces clarity, how a mastermind alliance shields your attention and multiplies your power, how directed imagination scripts reality before the world sees it, how service by value commands wealth without chasing it, and how strategic silence becomes the workshop where dominion is forged. These are not separate lessons. They are one continuous chain. Break one link and the chain weakens. Master all 8 and you become unbreakable. This will not be comfortable. Comfort is the enemy of transformation. You will be asked to confront the habits that keep you small, to name the escapes you use to avoid greatness, to declare who you are becoming before the evidence appears, to act as if the result is already yours while the world still doubts, and you will be given a ritual, a daily practice with metrics and milestones that rebuilds your identity from the inside out. 30 days to install the system, 60 days to consolidate the gains, 90 days to own the transformation, and from that point forward, you will walk as a different man, not because you hoped, because you obeyed. So listen now with your full attention. Do not drift. Do not pause to question whether this applies to you. It does. Every word is written for the man who is ready to stop being governed by accident and start governing by law, the man who is finished blaming circumstances and ready to command them, the man who understands that reality does not resist belief, it reflects it. If you are that man, or if you choose to become him in this moment, then what follows will change everything. But you must do more than listen. You must apply. You must repeat. You must act, because knowledge without action is a monument to wasted time. And time, once spent serving confusion, can never be reclaimed. Let us begin with the foundation. The first law, the unmovable stone upon which every other principle rests. Without this, nothing else will hold. With this, nothing can stop you. You were told that emotions are mysterious, that they come and go like weather, that some days you feel strong and other days you feel weak and there is nothing to be done about it. This is the language of the defeated. The man who believes this has already surrendered command. But the truth is far simpler and far more powerful. Emotions are not weather. They are responses. They respond to the dominant thought in your mind. And the dominant thought responds to the presence or absence of a definite chief aim. If you have no aim, your emotions will serve whatever distraction presents itself. If you have a clear aim, written, repeated, and backed by decision, your emotions will align with it. They will become soldiers in service of that aim. This is not mysticism. This is mechanics. Andrew Carnegie understood this law before he ever spoke it. He demanded that every man in his organization know exactly what he was building and why. Not vaguely, not eventually. Now. He required clarity so brutal that it burned away every excuse. A man who could not state his purpose in one sentence was not trusted with capital or confidence. Why? Because Carnegie knew that purpose is the only anchor strong enough to hold a man steady when storms arrive. When fear rises, purpose says keep moving. When doubt whispers, purpose says ignore it. When exhaustion begs for rest, purpose says one more step. The man with a definite chief aim does not need to fight his emotions. His emotions are already fighting for him. So I ask you now, do you have a definite chief aim? Can you state it in one sentence, without hesitation, without qualification, without retreat? If you cannot, then you are living without direction. And a life without direction is a life lived at the mercy of other men's plans. You become useful to them. You become fuel for their engines. And at the end, when your energy is spent, there is nothing left for you. This is not tragedy, this is predictable. And it can be stopped today. Write your definite chief aim. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now. State it in the present tense. State it as if it is already unfolding. Do not write, I hope to become. Write, I am becoming. Do not write, I wish to have. Write, I now command. Make it one sentence. Make it clear. Make it alive. And when you have written it, read it aloud. Let your voice carry it into the air. Let your ears hear it. Let your body feel the shape of those words. Because the moment you speak it with emotion, you have issued a command to your subconscious mind. And the subconscious, being without will of its own, has no choice but to obey. I command wealth by wisdom. I do not wait for freedom. I build it now. These are not wishes. These are declarations of law. And they must be repeated. Once is not enough. Twice is not enough. You must read your definite chief aim twice every day. Once in the morning before the world speaks to you. Once at night before sleep claims you. In the morning, you set the tone. At night, you hand your subconscious a task to work on while you rest. Over time, this repetition carves a groove so deep that your thoughts cannot wander from it. Your emotions fall into line. Your actions become automatic. And the world begins to shift because you have shifted first. But let me warn you, the aim must be definite. Vague goals produce vague results. A man who says, I want to be successful will never succeed because success is not a target. It is a word. But the man who says, I will build a business that serves 10,000 clients and generates $500,000 in profit within 2 years has drawn a line in the sand. His subconscious knows what to hunt. His emotions know what to fuel. His actions know what to obey. Definiteness is the difference between the man who talks about change and the man who produces it. So do not deceive yourself with soft language. Do not say, I would like, or I might, or I will try. These are the words of men who have already quit. Say I am, say I will, say I command. And when you speak, believe it. Not because the evidence is there, because you are creating the evidence through the act of belief. This is the first movement, the anchor, the stone. Without it, everything else drifts. With it, everything else becomes possible. Now that the aim is fixed, we must turn to the mechanism that drives it forward, because an aim without fuel is a map without legs. And fuel, in the realm of achievement, is emotion, but not wild emotion. not emotion left to chance, emotion programmed, directed, and released through the valve of autosuggestion. This is the second law, and it is more powerful than most men will ever know. You were taught that emotions simply happen to you, that you wake up feeling a certain way and must live with it. But this is false. Emotions are manufactured. They are produced by the beliefs you hold and the words you repeat. Change the belief, change the emotion. Change the words, change the state. The tool that allows this transformation is autosuggestion. It is the practice of feeding your subconscious mind specific instructions repeatedly until those instructions become automatic. It is how you reprogram the machine. Thomas Edison did not stumble into genius. He built it. He repeated beliefs about possibility until his body obeyed the experiment. He spoke to himself in language that assumed success. He saw the light before the bulb existed, and because he held that image with emotion, with repetition, with faith, his mind found the way. This is not talent. This is training. And if Edison could do it, you can do it. The difference is not capacity. It is discipline. Here is the practice. You must create affirmations, not vague wishes, not passive hopes, commands, statements of identity and action spoken in the present tense, backed by emotion, repeated until the subconscious accepts them as law. I speak what I am becoming. I command my emotions to serve my purpose. I walk in certainty because I have decided. These are not lies. These are rehearsals. You are teaching your inner world how to behave before the outer world sees it. And when the inner world is trained, the outer world has no choice but to follow. But repetition alone is not enough. You must add emotion. You must breathe deeply. You must feel the words as you say them. You must anchor them in your body. When you declare, I command wealth by wisdom, do not whisper it. Do not mumble it. Say it with your chest. Say it as if it is law. Say it until your spine straightens and your shoulders pull back and your eyes lift. Because the subconscious does not respond to weak signals. It responds to intensity. It responds to conviction. It responds to emotion fused with decision. Record 11 affirmations. Write them down. Speak them aloud. Repeat each one 3 times. Do this every morning and every evening, not when you feel like it. Every day, without exception. This is not optional. This is the mechanism. The man who skips this practice is the man who wonders why his emotions still betray him. The man who obeys this practice is the man who begins to feel his emotions shift. Fear becomes excitement. Doubt becomes curiosity. Hesitation becomes momentum. And within 30 days, he no longer recognizes the man he was before. Let me give you the rhythm. In the morning, stand before a mirror. Look yourself in the eyes. Do not look away. Do not shrink. Meet your own gaze with authority and speak. I speak law. I speak belief. I speak what I am becoming. 3 times. Let each repetition carry more weight than the last. Breathe between them. Let the oxygen feed the fire. And when you finish, do not rush into the day. Hold the silence for 10 seconds. Let the words settle. Let them root. At night, before you sleep, repeat the same practice. But this time as you speak, visualize the result. See yourself living the reality those words describe. See the wealth, see the freedom, see the command. Let the image become so vivid that your body begins to believe it has already happened. Because the subconscious cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you feed it clear images backed by emotion, it begins to manufacture the conditions that match those images. This is not fantasy. This is programming. But you must guard what enters your mind, because autosuggestion works both ways. If you allow fear-based thoughts to repeat, they will program failure. If you allow doubt-based language to dominate your inner dialogue, you will train yourself to hesitate. So you must become ruthless with your attention. When a thought enters that contradicts your aim, reject it immediately. Do not entertain it. Do not explore it. Replace it with one of your affirmations. This is mental hygiene. And it is not optional for the man who seeks dominion. The skeptic will say this sounds like pretending, but the skeptic does not understand the structure of reality. He believes only in what he sees. He does not realize that what he sees is the result of what he believed yesterday. If you wait for the world to change before you believe, you will wait forever. But if you believe first, if you act as if it is already done, the world will adjust, not because you deceived it, because you commanded it. And command is the only language reality obeys. So take up your affirmations, write them with clarity, speak them with emotion, repeat them without apology, and watch as your emotions begin to obey. They will no longer rule you, they will serve you. And when emotion serves purpose, there is no limit to what you can build. Now we turn to the structure that makes all of this sustainable, because intensity without rhythm burns out, passion without habit fades, and the man who relies on motivation alone will always fall short when motivation runs dry. The third law is this: what you repeat governs what you feel. What you feel governs what you do. And what you do, when repeated, becomes your destiny. Habit is the bridge between intention and inevitability. Rhythm is the engine that runs without your conscious effort. And the man who masters rhythm masters his life. John D. Rockefeller did not build Standard Oil through sporadic genius. He built it through predictable routines. He woke at the same time. He reviewed his goals at the same time. He made decisions according to principles he had written and tested. This created a buffer against panic. When markets shook, when competitors attacked, when public opinion turned, Rockefeller did not waver. Not because he felt no fear, because his rhythm was stronger than his fear. His habits governed his emotions, and his emotions, once governed, produced clarity. Clarity produced action. Action produced results. This is the cycle. And it begins with the decision to install rhythm. You must understand that rhythm is not about rigid perfection. It is about consistent repetition of the essential actions. The man who waits to feel motivated before he acts will never build anything lasting. Motivation is a visitor. It comes and goes. But discipline is a resident. It lives in your house. It wakes when you wake. It moves when you move. And it does not ask permission from your feelings. Install triggers. These are the anchors that make rhythm automatic. A trigger is a specific time, a specific place, a specific action that signals to your subconscious that now is the moment to execute. 5:30 in the morning becomes the trigger for your mirror practice. 12:30 in the afternoon becomes the trigger for recalibration. 9:30 at night becomes the trigger for review. You do. Not think about whether you feel like it. The clock strikes and you move. This removes the burden of decision. Decision fatigue is real. The more choices you force yourself to make, the weaker each choice becomes. But when rhythm is installed, the choice is already made. You simply follow the track. Let me tell you about a man who nearly lost everything because he refused rhythm. He was brilliant. He could see opportunities others missed. He could craft solutions faster than his competitors. But he operated by impulse. Some days he worked 16 hours. Other days he worked none. Some weeks he was unstoppable. Other weeks he vanished. His emotions dictated his schedule. And so his results were erratic. Clients trusted him less. Partners questioned his reliability. And over time the opportunities dried up. Not because he lacked talent, because he lacked rhythm. He was a storm without a season, and storms without seasons destroy more than they create. Then something changed. A single conversation with a man who had built what he wanted. That man asked him one question: "Can you show me your daily checklist?" He had none. The man told him this: "You will never command wealth until you command your days. Go home. Write 6 actions that must happen every day. No more than 6, no fewer than 6. And do them in the same order, at the same time, every single day for 30 days. Do not skip. Do not negotiate. Obey the list as if it were law. And in 30 days, return and tell me what happened." He obeyed. The first week was agony. His emotions screamed. His mind invented excuses. But he followed the rhythm. By the second week, resistance softened. By the third week, the actions became automatic. And by the 30th day, something remarkable occurred. He no longer needed willpower to execute. The rhythm carried him. His emotions had learned to obey the schedule, and within 90 days, his income doubled. Not because he worked more hours, because he worked the right hours, in the right order, with the right focus. Rhythm had taken a chaotic mind and turned it into a reliable engine. This is available to you, but you must decide what the 6 actions are, not 60. 6. The essentials, the non-negotiables. Write them down, assign them times, and obey them, without exception, for 30 days. Do not judge the results in week 1. Do not abandon the system in week 2. Trust the process, because rhythm does not negotiate, it compounds. And by day 30, you will not recognize the man you were. Your emotions will no longer control your schedule. Your schedule will govern your emotions. And when that shift occurs, you will have crossed into a new realm of power. Micro gains every day produce macro transformation over time. The man who improves 1% each day does not notice the change on day 2 or day 7. But on day 90, he has become unrecognizable. Do not despise small disciplines. They are the architecture of empires. 1 affirmation repeated is a drop. 300 affirmations repeated over 90 days is a flood. 1 page written is invisible. 1 page written every day for a year is a book. 1 conversation with a potential partner is a seed. 1 conversation every week for 6 months is a garden. Small things, done in rhythm, become unstoppable things. So I say to you now with the force of instruction, install your rhythm today, write the 6 actions, assign the times, and obey. Each day you execute, you prove to yourself that you are who you say you are. Each day you break the rhythm. You train yourself to doubt. The subconscious is watching. It is always watching. And it believes not what you say, but what you repeat. So repeat the right actions. Repeat them until they become who you are. And when rhythm is installed, you will feel something you have not felt in years. You will feel inevitable. But rhythm alone is not enough, because rhythm can carry you forward or backward, depending on the direction you have chosen. And if you have left yourself an exit, if you have kept the escape hatch open, your rhythm will eventually lead you back to comfort, back to safety, back to the life you said you were leaving. This is why the 4th law is so brutal and so necessary. Decision must burn the bridge. When there is no way back, there is only one way forward. And when forward is the only option, your emotions have no choice but to fuel the journey. Hesitation is the enemy of dominion. Indecision is the breeding ground of fear. The man who keeps 1 foot in the old life and 1 foot in the new life will eventually collapse under the tension. He cannot serve 2 visions. He cannot obey 2 masters. He must choose. And choosing means cutting. Cutting the habits that no longer serve. Cutting the relationships that drain belief. Cutting the safety nets that whisper you can always go back. You cannot go back. Not if you are serious. Not if you are done playing. Abraham Lincoln understood this law in the deepest hours of his leadership. When the Union fractured, when generals failed, when the nation trembled on the edge of collapse, he did not sit in endless deliberation. He moved. He issued the Emancipation Proclamation not because it was safe, but because it was necessary. He knew that to preserve the Union, he had to burn certain bridges. He had to make choices that could not be undone. And in doing so, he forced clarity. His enemies knew where he stood. His allies knew what was required. And his own mind, once the decision was made, stopped wasting energy on alternatives. All energy flowed in one direction, forward. This is the power of the burned bridge. When you cut the escape, you unlock reserves of strength you did not know existed. Your subconscious mind, sensing that retreat is no longer possible, begins to search for solutions with an intensity it never applied when safety was still an option. The man who says, "I will try this and see how it feels," has already failed, because try is the language of the uncommitted. The language of the man who commands is, "I have decided. I am moving. I will not turn back." What is your bridge? What is the habit, the relationship, the belief, the backup plan that you are holding on to just in case this does not work? Name it now, because as long as it exists, your commitment is divided, and divided commitment produces divided results. You cannot build an empire while clutching the safety of a paycheck you despise. You cannot train your body while keeping junk food in the pantry. You cannot master your mind while allowing toxic voices into your inner circle. Something must be cut, something must be sacrificed, and the cutting must be clean. Let me ask you this. What would you do if failure was not an option? If you knew with absolute certainty that retreat was impossible, what actions would you take today? That is the question the man with the burned bridge asks himself every morning. And because he has removed the alternative, his actions become decisive, his speech becomes clear, his posture becomes unshakable. The world sees a man who has made up his mind, and the world, being uncertain itself, follows certainty. So I command you now, choose one escape route and close it within 24 hours. One habit you have been meaning to quit. One relationship that drains your vision. One backup plan that keeps you comfortable. Cut it. Do not ease out of it. Do not taper. Sever it completely. And when you do, you will feel something uncomfortable. You will feel exposed. You will feel the weight of your own decision. Good. That weight is the weight of responsibility. That discomfort is the birth of power. Sit with it. Let it teach you that you are stronger than you believed. The man who burns bridges does not do so recklessly. He does so strategically. He has counted the cost, he has weighed the risks, and he has decided that the cost of staying where he is exceeds the cost of moving forward. This is not impulsivity. This is clarity. And clarity, when backed by decision, becomes a force that bends circumstances. Do not wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is the moment you decide. And once you decide, once you cut the line and sail into open water, you will discover that the wind was waiting for you all along. But it does not blow toward the harbor, it blows toward the horizon. And the only way to catch it is to leave the shore behind. Now we must speak of the force that multiplies your power beyond what you can achieve alone. Because the man who walks alone walks farther than the crowd, but the man who walks with the right alliance walks farther than any individual ever could. The fifth law is this: emotion is contagious. Attention is collective. And when two or more minds unite in harmony around a definite aim, they create a third mind, a greater mind, that none of them could access in isolation. This is the mastermind principle, and it is the hidden engine behind every great fortune. Charles M. Schwab rose from nothing to become one of the most powerful men in steel. He did not do this alone. He aligned himself with Andrew Carnegie, a man whose belief matched his own, whose vision was compatible, whose standards were uncompromising. Together they formed a mastermind. They met regularly. They reviewed progress. They challenged assumptions. They held each other accountable. And in the friction of that alliance, ideas emerged that neither man could have conceived in solitude. The mastermind is not a social club. It is not a networking event. It is a precision tool, a focused gathering of minds aligned on a common objective, meeting at regular intervals, operating under strict rules and committed to one another's elevation. Most men fail because they surround themselves with doubt. They keep company with critics. They confide in those who have never built what they are trying to build. And over time, the negativity seeps in. The subconscious, being always receptive, absorbs the dominant emotion of the environment. If that environment is filled with fear, the subconscious learns fear. If that environment is filled with complaint, the subconscious learns to complain. But if the environment is filled with belief, with clarity, with action, the subconscious learns those things instead, and it begins to produce results that match the standard of the room. You must choose your influences as a king chooses his counsel. Let no man or woman into your inner circle who does not support your vision. Let no voice dwell near your subconscious if it does not speak of growth, power, and purpose. This is not cruelty, this is wisdom. You are the gatekeeper, and what you allow through the gate determines the quality of your inner world. Guard it ruthlessly. Form a mastermind alliance of 3 to 5 people, no more than 5, or the focus dilutes, no fewer than 3, or the dynamic lacks tension. These must be people with compatible, definite chief aims, not identical, but compatible. People who are building something. People who have committed to rhythm. People who understand that mediocrity is a choice they refuse to make. Meet twice per week for 45 minutes. No longer, or energy wanes. No shorter or depth is impossible. Set the time, set the location, set the rules, and obey them without exception. The rules are simple, but non-negotiable. Every member must state their progress since the last meeting. Every member must name one bottleneck preventing faster movement. Every member must commit to one action to be completed within 7 days. No complaints, no excuses, no justifications. If a member violates the rules, they are removed. This sounds harsh, but the mastermind is not a therapy session. It is an engine, and engines require precision. One broken part stops the entire machine. What happens inside a true mastermind is remarkable. When minds unite in harmony, they generate a field of belief too strong for ordinary obstacles to resist. Ideas flow faster. Solutions appear where problems once stood. Opportunities present themselves as if summoned. This is not mysticism. This is energetic law. Thought is energy. When multiple minds focus that energy in the same direction, the intensity multiplies. And reality, being responsive to intensity, shifts to accommodate the vision. But you must also protect your attention outside the mastermind, because attention is your most valuable currency. Where attention goes, energy flows, and where energy flows, results grow. The modern world is designed to steal your attention. Every notification, every scroll, every distraction is an attempt to hijack your focus and redirect it towards someone else's agenda. If you allow this, you will spend your entire life building other men's dreams while your own dies of neglect. Install a firewall. Decide what you will consume and what you will reject. Eliminate social media during work hours. Silence your phone during focus blocks. Remove yourself from conversations that do not serve your aim. This will feel uncomfortable. You will feel the pull of FOMO, the fear of missing out. But let me tell you what you are actually missing. You are missing nothing. Because the man who protects his attention and directs it toward his definite aim will create more in 1 year than the distracted man creates in 10. You are not missing out. You are opting in to power. I sow understanding and reap gold. This is the principle. What you plant in your mind, through your associations and your attention, determines what grows. Plant weeds, and you harvest weeds. Plant clarity, and you harvest results. So curate your inputs. Read only what builds your belief. Listen only to those who have walked the path. Spend time only with those who demand excellence. And watch as your inner world transforms. When your inner world transforms, your outer world has no choice but to follow. Let me ask you now, who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? Write their names. Look at their results. Look at their habits. Look at their beliefs. Because you are becoming the average of those 5 people, whether you realize it or not. If they drift, you will drift. If they complain, you will complain. If they settle, you will settle. But if they build, you will build. If they demand more, you will demand more. If they refuse mediocrity, you will refuse it too. This is not theory, this is observable law. So make the choice today. If the 5 people do not match the vision you hold for yourself, change the 5 people. This does not mean you abandon everyone. It means you become intentional about proximity. You can love people from a distance. You can respect people without absorbing their limitations. But you cannot afford to let their doubts into your subconscious. not if you are serious, not if you are done waiting. Form your mastermind, protect your attention, and watch as your power multiplies beyond what you thought possible. Because the man who walks with giants begins to walk like a giant, and the world makes space for giants. Now we turn to the mechanism that scripts reality before it occurs. Because belief without image is vague, and vague belief produces vague results. The sixth law is this: the mind rehearses, the body executes, the environment yields, and the rehearsal happens in the realm of imagination. Directed imagination is not daydreaming. It is not idle fantasy. It is the precise, repeated visualization of your definite aim as if it has already been accomplished. It is the mental blueprint that precedes the physical structure. And when the blueprint is clear, vivid, and emotionally charged, the subconscious begins to attract the materials required to build it. Henry Ford did not wait for permission to see the car that would change the world. He saw it first in his mind. He walked through its design. He heard the engine. He felt the steering wheel. He envisioned millions of families driving on open roads. And because he held that image with unwavering faith, his mind found the way to make it real. The steel bent, the parts aligned, the factories rose. Not because Ford was lucky, because Ford directed his imagination toward a definite outcome and refused to let the image fade. This is the practice. Every day, for 10 minutes, you must enter the theater of your mind and watch the film of your completed aim. Do not think about the steps. Do not analyze the how. Simply see the result. See yourself living in the reality your definite chief aim describes. If your aim is wealth, see the account balance. See the contracts signed. See the freedom it provides. If your aim is influence, see the audience. See the impact. See the lives changed. If your aim is mastery, see the skill executed flawlessly. See the recognition. See the inner satisfaction. But do not merely watch. Step into the scene. Engage all 5 senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel in your hands? What does the air smell like? What does success taste like in this moment? The more vivid the rehearsal, the deeper it penetrates the subconscious. And the subconscious, once convinced that this reality is inevitable, begins to manufacture the conditions that make it so. It identifies opportunities you would have missed. It generates ideas you could not access through logic alone. It attracts people who can help, not because of magic, because you have tuned your internal frequency to match the outcome. And reality responds to frequency. Here is the structure. Find a quiet place. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply 3 times. On the 3rd exhale, enter the scene. Spend 8 minutes inside the visualization. Do not rush, do not skip details. Live it fully. And in the final 2 minutes, speak one affirmation aloud that anchors the vision. I see it. I act on it. The world aligns with it. Then open your eyes and immediately take one physical action, no matter how small, that moves you toward the vision. This could be sending one email, making one call, writing one page. The action does not have to be large, but it must happen, because the action is proof to your subconscious that the vision is not fantasy, it is instruction. Do this every day for 30 days without fail, and watch what happens. You will begin to notice things you did not notice before. A conversation will occur that leads to an opportunity. A book will appear that contains the exact answer you needed. A person will cross your path who holds a key. These are not coincidences. These are the fruits of directed imagination. You planted the seed in the invisible realm, and now it is sprouting in the visible one. But let me warn you, if you visualize without action, nothing happens. Imagination without execution is escapism. It feels good, but produces nothing. The man who spends all his time imagining wealth while refusing to serve value will die poor. The man who imagines influence while hiding from the public will die unknown. Imagination is the blueprint. Action is the builder. Both are required. There is one more element that must be added to directed imagination. You must script the feeling, not just the scene. Most men visualize the outcome but forget to embody the emotion of having already achieved it. They see the wealth but do not feel the peace it brings. They see the influence but do not feel the confidence it generates. And so the visualization remains flat. It does not convince the subconscious. But when you add emotion, when you feel the gratitude, the pride, the relief, the joy, as if it is happening now, the subconscious cannot tell the difference between imagination and memory. It begins to treat the vision as something that has already occurred, and it moves heaven and earth to make the external world match the internal record. So when you visualize, do not watch yourself from a distance. Be inside your own body. Feel your heartbeat. Feel your breath. Feel the weight of success in your chest. Let tears come if they come. Let laughter rise if it rises. Emotion is the signature that tells the subconscious this matters. And what matters gets done. See it. Script it. Ship it. This is the sequence. See the vision clearly. Script the steps that move you toward it. Ship the work that proves you believe. And repeat this cycle every day until the vision is no longer a vision, until it is simply your life. Now we must address the law that most men misunderstand. They believe wealth is pursued. They believe it is chased. They believe that if they run fast enough, work hard enough, hustle long enough, the money will eventually surrender. But this is not how wealth works. Wealth is not chased. It is commanded, and it is commanded through value. The seventh law is this: you do not pursue riches. You attract them by becoming useful to the world in a way that cannot be ignored. Value first. Gold follows. There is a story in the ancient texts about a king who was offered anything he desired. He could have asked for gold. He could have asked for power. He could have asked for long life. But he asked for understanding. He asked for wisdom. And because he prioritized value over accumulation, he received both. The wisdom allowed him to serve his people in ways no other king could. And the service generated wealth, influence, and a legacy that outlasted his lifetime. This is the principle. Serve value, and the return is inevitable. Most men get this backward. They ask, "What can I get?" before they ask, "What can I give?" They negotiate their salary before they prove their worth. They demand recognition before they deliver results. And then they wonder why the market does not reward them. The market rewards value. It rewards solutions. It rewards the man who makes other people's lives better, easier, richer, or more meaningful. If you are not being rewarded, it is not because the world is unfair. It is because you have not yet delivered enough value to command the reward. So the question is not, how do I make more money? The question is, how do I deliver more value per unit of time? If you can solve a problem that affects one person, you can earn a modest income. If you can solve a problem that affects 1,000 people, you can earn a significant income. If you can solve a problem that affects 1 million people, you can command wealth that most men never see. The math is simple. The execution requires clarity, focus, and the willingness to serve. Let me tell you about a man who understood this law long before others did. He was not born into wealth. He worked in obscurity for years. But he made a decision. Every day, he would increase the value he delivered by 10%. Not 10% more hours, 10% more utility, 10% better solutions, 10% clearer communication, 10% faster delivery. At first, no one noticed. But he did not stop. He kept the rhythm. And within 6 months, clients began to refer him. Within a year, competitors began to study him. Within 2 years, his income had tripled, not because he worked harder, because he became more valuable. This is available to you. But you must shift your focus from accumulation to contribution. Stop asking what the world owes you. Start asking what you can build that the world needs. And then build it with excellence. Build it with consistency. Build it until the market has no choice but to respond. Because the market does not resist value. It runs toward it. I command wealth by wisdom. This is not arrogance. This is alignment with law. Wisdom is the ability to see what others need before they know they need it. to create solutions before problems fully form, to serve in ways that multiply impact. And when you operate from wisdom, wealth becomes a byproduct, not the goal, the byproduct. You do not chase it. It chases you, because you have become the kind of person the world cannot afford to ignore. Here is the practice. Identify one asset you control. This could be a skill, a process, a relationship, a piece of content, a system. Now ask yourself, how can I increase the value of this asset by 10% this week? Not someday, this week. Maybe you refine the language. Maybe you add a feature. Maybe you remove friction. Maybe you deliver it faster. Maybe you package it better. The specific action matters less than the commitment to improve, because 10% compounded weekly becomes exponential within months. Track this. Write down the asset, write down the improvement, measure the result. Did clients respond differently? Did the market pay more attention? Did opportunities increase? If yes, repeat the process. If no, adjust and try again. This is not guesswork. This is scientific. You are testing what the market values. And when you find it, you pour gasoline on it. You scale it. You systematize it. And you let it run. But here is the trap most men fall into. They deliver value once and then wait for the reward to arrive. They write one great piece of content and expect the world to find it. They solve one problem and expect clients to line up. But the world is noisy. The world is distracted. The world needs repetition before it believes. You must deliver value consistently, repeatedly, relentlessly, until your name becomes synonymous with the solution. This is not arrogance. This is strategy. The man who shows up once is forgotten. The man who shows up every week becomes indispensable. So commit to this. Every day, increase value. Every week, measure impact. Every month, adjust strategy. And within 90 days, you will see a shift. Not in your effort, in your results, because you have aligned yourself with the law of return. And the law of return is as reliable as gravity. What you give with intention, you receive with interest. But you must give first. You must plant before you harvest. And you must plant more than you think is fair, because the market does not owe you fairness. It owes you nothing. But it will give you everything if you prove you deserve it. Value first. Gold follows. This is not a suggestion. This is law. And the man who obeys this law will never wonder where his next dollar comes from, because the dollars will be chasing him. Now we come to the final law before the ritual, the law that protects everything you have built, because dominion is not maintained through noise. It is maintained through silence. The eighth law is this: silence is the workshop where emotion learns obedience, and the man who cannot govern his tongue cannot govern his life. You have been taught to speak, to share, to express, to broadcast every thought, every plan, every feeling. But this is the path of the weak. The strong man speaks only when speech adds value. He holds his vision in silence until it is strong enough to withstand criticism. He guards his plans from the voices that would dilute them. He does not seek validation. He seeks execution. And execution happens in the quiet hours before the world wakes. Thomas Edison protected his laboratory from social noise. He did not announce his experiments until they produced light. He did not debate with critics. He did not justify his process. He worked in silence. And when the work was done, the world had no choice but to listen. This is the power of strategic silence. It removes distraction. It eliminates interference. It allows the mind to focus all its energy on the task without dissipating that energy through speech. Most men fail because they talk too much. They announce their goals before they take the first step. They share their plans with people who have no stake in their success. They speak out of excitement, out of fear, out of the need for approval. And with every word, they leak power, because speech is energy, and undisciplined speech is wasted energy. The subconscious hears you talking about what you will do and mistakes that for having already done it. The emotional release you get from announcing your plan tricks your mind into thinking the work is complete. And so you never begin. or you begin and quickly fade, because the fuel was burned in conversation instead of action. So I give you this rule. Do not speak your aim to anyone who cannot help you achieve it. Do not share your progress with anyone who has not earned the right to hear it. Keep your vision in silence until the evidence is undeniable. And when the work is done, let the results speak, because results are louder than promises. Results are more convincing than explanations. Results silence critics without a single word. But silence is not just about what you do not say. It is about what you do not consume. Every piece of content you consume, every conversation you enter, every notification you respond to is feeding your subconscious information, and your subconscious does not filter. It absorbs. If you fill your mind with noise, with negativity, with distraction, your inner world becomes chaotic, and a chaotic inner world produces chaotic results. But if you guard your inputs, if you consume only what strengthens belief and clarifies vision, your inner world becomes ordered, and an ordered inner world produces ordered results. Install a morning silence practice. 5 minutes. Before you check your phone, before you speak to anyone, before the world makes its demands, sit in silence, breathe, and let your mind settle into stillness. In that stillness, clarity emerges. Solutions appear. The dominant thought rises to the surface, and you begin your day from a place of command instead of reaction. This is not meditation for relaxation. This is silence for dominion. It is the reclaiming of your attention from the noise of the world. There is also a practice for moments of emotional intensity. When anger rises, when fear knocks, when frustration tempts you to speak, install a 30-second rule. Before you respond, count to 30. Breathe deeply. Let the emotion pass through you, without taking control. And then, if speech is still necessary, speak from clarity instead of reaction. Most conflicts are born from words spoken in heat. Most regrets are born from decisions made in emotion. But the man who governs his tongue in the moment of intensity governs his destiny, because words once spoken cannot be unspoken, and damage once done takes years to repair. I govern my tongue, therefore I govern my life. This is the declaration. Say it when you feel the urge to speak out of turn. Say it when criticism tempts you to defend. Say it when excitement tempts you to announce. And let the words remind you that power kept is power multiplied. The man who hoards his energy, who speaks only when necessary, who moves in silence until the work is done, that man becomes unstoppable. Not because he is louder, because he is focused. And focus, protected by silence, cuts through obstacles like a blade. Let me ask you this. How much time do you spend each day in silence? Not sleeping, not distracted. True silence, where your mind is not being fed input from screens, from voices, from noise. If the answer is none, then you are living at the mercy of external forces. You are reacting instead of creating. You are being shaped instead of shaping. And this must change if you are serious about command. So commit to this. 5 minutes every morning in silence. 30 seconds before responding under emotion. 1 day per week with no consumption, only creation. And watch what happens. Your mind will become clearer. Your decisions will become sharper. Your emotions will become servants instead of masters. Because silence is not emptiness. Silence is fullness. It is the space where power gathers before it is released. Power kept is power multiplied. Remember this when the world demands your reaction. When critics demand your defense, when excitement demands your announcement, hold the power, let it build, and release it only when the time is right, because the man who speaks too soon gives his enemies a map, but the man who moves in silence gives them nothing to resist, and by the time they see him, it is too late. The work is done, the victory is won, and all they can do is watch. Now we have reached the threshold. You have been given 8 laws, 8 principles that govern the relationship between mind, emotion, and reality. But principles without practice are monuments without movement. You can know all of this and still change nothing, or you can take what you know and forge it into ritual. into a daily discipline that rebuilds your identity from the inside out. This is the moment of decision. Will you remain a student of theory, or will you become a practitioner of law? The ritual I am about to describe is not optional for the man who seeks dominion. It is the mechanism. It is the daily practice that takes scattered intention and turns it into focused power. It is the rhythm that makes every other principle operational. And it is divided into 4 movements that occur at specific times each day: morning, midday, evening, and the twice-weekly mastermind. Each movement has a purpose. Each movement reinforces the others, and together they form a system that, when followed without exception for 90 days, will make you unrecognizable. Let us begin with the morning. You will rise at 5:30, not 5:45, not when you feel rested, 5:30. This is the time when the world is still asleep, when the noise has not yet begun, when your mind is fresh and your subconscious is most receptive. Do not check your phone. Do not turn on the news. Do not allow any external input before you have issued your internal command. The first voice you hear each day must be your own. Walk to the mirror. Stand before it. Look yourself directly in the eyes. Do not look away. Do not shrink. Meet your own gaze with the authority of a man who has made up his mind. And then speak. You will speak 11 affirmations. These are not wishes. These are declarations of identity and law. They are statements of who you are becoming, spoken in the present tense as if they are already true. And you will repeat each affirmation 3 times. Not once, 3 times, because repetition is the language the subconscious understands best. The first affirmation: I command my emotions to serve my purpose. Say it. Feel the words in your chest. Let your voice carry weight. Repeat it 3 times. Breathe between each repetition. Let the oxygen fuel the declaration. The second affirmation: I speak what I am becoming. 3 times. Let each repetition land deeper than the last. The third affirmation: I do not wait for freedom. I build it now. 3 times. Feel the truth of it rising in your body. The fourth affirmation: my mind speaks law and my life obeys. 3 times. Let your spine straighten as you speak. The fifth affirmation: I govern my tongue. Therefore I govern my life. 3 times. Let the power of restraint fill you. The sixth affirmation: I command wealth by wisdom. 3 times. See the wealth as you speak. Feel it as already yours. The seventh affirmation: I walk in certainty because I have decided. 3 times. Let doubt dissolve with each repetition. The eighth affirmation: I sow understanding and reap gold. 3 times. Feel the exchange happening in the invisible realm. The ninth affirmation: every day I act in obedience to my aim. 3 times. Let obedience become identity. The 10th affirmation: I see it, I script it, I ship it. 3 times. Let action become inevitable. The 11th affirmation: power kept is power multiplied. 3 times. Let silence become strength. When you finish, do not rush away. Stand in the silence for 10 seconds. Let the words settle into your subconscious like seeds into soil. Feel your heartbeat, feel your breath, and know that you have just issued a command that your entire being will spend the day obeying. Next, read your definite chief aim aloud. Speak it with conviction. Speak it as if it is not a goal but a fact. Speak it as if the universe is taking notes, and after you speak it, close your eyes and see it. Spend 2 minutes inside the vision. See yourself living the reality your aim describes. Engage all 5 senses. Make it vivid. Make it real. And when you open your eyes, speak one final sentence. The world bends to my belief because I act on my belief. Now enter the 5 minutes of silence. Sit. Breathe deeply 3 times. And then simply be still. Do not try to think. Do not try to empty your mind. Simply observe. Let thoughts come and go without attaching to them. Let your nervous system settle. Let clarity rise to the surface. And in that clarity, you will often find the one action that matters most today. The action that moves your definite aim forward. When the 5 minutes end, write that action down and commit to executing it before noon. This is the morning ritual. It takes 20 minutes, and those 20 minutes set the tone for the entire day. You have programmed your subconscious. You have declared your identity. You have visualized your outcome. You have found clarity in silence, and you have committed to one critical action. The man who does this every morning for 30 days will not recognize himself. His emotions will obey, his focus will sharpen, his results will multiply. Not because of magic, because he has installed the operating system of dominion. At 12:30, you will perform the midday recalibration. This takes 90 seconds. You will stop whatever you are doing. You will stand. You will breathe deeply 3 times. And you will speak 3 sentences. I am still on target. My aim is fixed. My pace is strong. Then you will take one micro action that reinforces your morning commitment. This could be sending one email, making one call, writing one paragraph. The action does not have to be large, but it must happen, because the midday recalibration is a course correction. It prevents drift. It reminds your subconscious that you are still moving toward the aim, and it breaks the day into 2 focused blocks instead of one long blur. At 9:30 in the evening, you will perform the 3rd movement, the evening review. This is where accountability lives. You will sit with a journal or a simple checklist and ask yourself 6 questions. Did I complete my morning ritual? Did I execute my midday recalibration? Did I take the one critical action I identified? Did I protect my attention from distraction? Did I speak only what serves my aim? Did I increase value in at least one area today? Answer yes or no. No explanations, no justifications, just the truth. And for every yes, you build evidence that you are becoming the man you declared. For every no, you identify the gap that must be closed tomorrow. But the evening review is more than accountability. It is also harvest. You will write down 3 learnings from the day, not vague observations, specific insights. What worked? What failed? What must be adjusted? What pattern is emerging? These learnings become your competitive advantage. Most men repeat the same mistakes for years because they never stop to extract the lesson. But the man who reviews his day with ruthless honesty learns faster than his competition. He iterates faster. He adapts faster. And over time, he becomes untouchable because he has compressed decades of learning into months of disciplined reflection. After you write the learnings, you will read your definite chief aim aloud one final time. And then you will close your eyes and visualize success as already yours, not as something coming, as something present. Feel the gratitude. Feel the satisfaction. Feel the peace of knowing you kept your word to yourself. And when you open your eyes, speak this final sentence before sleep. Tomorrow I rise as the man I am becoming. Then sleep, and let your subconscious work through the night on the commands you have given it. This is the daily rhythm. Morning ritual, midday recalibration, evening review, 22 minutes total across the day. And those 22 minutes, executed without exception, will produce more transformation than 1,000 hours of undirected effort. Because this is not effort, this is architecture. You are building the structure that makes success inevitable. But the daily rhythm is not complete without the collective force of the mastermind. Twice per week, for 45 minutes, you will meet with your alliance. These meetings are not social, they are surgical. Every member arrives prepared. Every member states their progress in one sentence. Every member names their primary bottleneck in one sentence. Every member commits to one action for the next 7 days in one sentence. No stories, no tangents, no complaints. Just clarity, accountability, and commitment. The power of the mastermind is not in the talking. It is in the listening. When you hear another man state his commitment, your subconscious registers that this is possible. When you hear him name his bottleneck, your mind begins searching for solutions. When you hear him report progress, your belief strengthens that the path is real. And when you make your own commitment in front of witnesses, you activate a force stronger than willpower. You activate integrity, because the man who speaks his word in front of others feels the weight of that word. And if he is a man of honor, he will move heaven and earth to keep it. The mastermind must also have a rule of gold. No negativity, no gossip, no dwelling on problems without proposing solutions. The moment a member brings poison into the room, they are warned once. If they bring it again, they are removed. This sounds harsh. But the mastermind is a garden, and gardens must be weeded. One toxic voice can destroy the belief of 5 strong men, so protect the space, guard it fiercely, and watch as the collective power lifts everyone inside it to heights they could never reach alone. Now we turn to the system of value. This is the engine that converts your time into assets. Most men trade hours for dollars and call it income. But the man who builds dominion trades hours for ownership. He creates something once that continues to produce value long after the work is done. This is the difference between labor and leverage, and it begins with one decision. Every week, you will dedicate 4 focused hours to building or refining one asset that can operate without you. This could be a process that delivers value to clients automatically. This could be a piece of content that attracts opportunity while you sleep. This could be a training system that teaches others to execute what you once did manually. This could be a partnership structure that multiplies your reach without multiplying your hours. The specific form matters less than the principle. You are building something that runs, something that compounds, something that liberates your time while expanding your impact. Let me describe what this looks like in practice. Every Sunday morning, you will review your week and ask one question. What did I do manually this week that could be systematized? Choose one thing, and in the 4 focused hours during the coming week, you will build the system. Maybe you record a training video so you never have to explain the same process twice. Maybe you write a template so you never have to start from scratch again. Maybe you document a checklist so someone else can execute without your direct involvement. These seem like small things, but small things, systematized over 52 weeks, become empires. Within 30 days of this practice, you will notice something remarkable. Tasks that once required your constant attention begin to run on their own. Within 60 days, you will have reclaimed hours every week. And within 90 days, you will look at your calendar and realize that you are spending more time building and less time maintaining. This is freedom. Not the freedom to do nothing, the freedom to build the next system while the previous one runs. And when you have 10 systems running, you have an empire that does not require your presence to function, an empire that serves value while you sleep, and the market rewards that kind of value with wealth that most men only dream of. But let me address the voices that will rise against this, because as you begin this journey, obstacles will appear. Not outside, inside. These are the objections your mind will manufacture to protect you from discomfort, and if you do not name them now, they will stop you later. The first objection: I do not have time. This is the most common lie. You have the same 24 hours as every giant who came before you. The question is not whether you have time. The question is whether you have made the decision. Because when the decision is made, time appears. You stop watching television, you stop scrolling, you stop attending meetings that produce nothing. You reclaim the hours you were wasting and redirect them toward what matters. The man who says he has no time is the man who has not decided what deserves his time. Make the decision and the time will obey. The second objection: I do not feel like it. Good. Feelings are irrelevant. Feelings are weather. They change hourly. The man who waits to feel motivated will wait forever. But the man who acts regardless of feeling builds discipline. And discipline, once built, produces results that motivation never could. You do not need to feel like doing the morning ritual. You simply do it. And after 30 days of doing it without feeling, you will discover something profound. The feeling follows the action. You do not act because you feel powerful. You feel powerful because you acted. The third objection: people will think I am strange. Let them. The opinions of drifting men are worthless. You are not seeking their approval. You are seeking your freedom. And freedom is always misunderstood by those who remain in chains. They will mock your ritual. They will question your intensity. They will call you obsessed. And you will smile, because you know something they do not. Obsession in the service of purpose is the only path to greatness. Moderation is the creed of the mediocre, and you have decided you are done being mediocre. The fourth objection: my old beliefs are too strong. Then overwrite them. Beliefs are not permanent. They are habits of thought, and habits can be changed through repetition. Every time you speak an affirmation, you are laying down a new neural pathway. Every time you act in alignment with your aim, you are weakening the old pattern. Within 30 days, the old belief will begin to fade. Within 60 days, it will be a whisper. Within 90 days, it will be gone. But only if you repeat the new belief without compromise. Only if you refuse to entertain the old story. Only if you act as if the new belief is already true. The fifth objection: I am not seeing results fast enough. Because you are measuring wrong. You are looking for external change while the internal change is still forming. The first 30 days are installation. You are building the foundation. The results are invisible, but they are real. Your subconscious is rewiring. Your habits are forming. Your identity is shifting. Do not judge the process before it completes. Trust the rhythm. Execute the ritual. And by day 60, you will begin to see proof. By day 90, the proof will be undeniable. But if you quit at day 20 because you cannot see the fruit, you will never taste it. Patience backed by action is invincible. Impatience backed by doubt is suicide. These objections will come, and when they do, you will name them. You will recognize them for what they are: not truth, not wisdom, just fear dressed in logic. And you will reject them. You will speak your affirmation louder. You will execute your ritual harder. You will refuse to let the voice of the old self stop the rise of the new self. Because this is war, not against the world, against the part of you that wants to stay small. And in this war, there is no negotiation. There is only victory or surrender. And you have already decided which one you will choose. Now let me show you the metrics that make this measurable, because what is measured is managed, and what is managed is multiplied. Every week, you will audit your execution. You will calculate your compliance rate. This is simple. 6 daily actions, 7 days, 42 opportunities to execute. How many did you complete? If the answer is 36 or more, you have achieved 85% compliance. This is the threshold. Below 85% and you are drifting. Above 85% and you are building. Your goal is not perfection. Your goal is consistency. And 85% consistency, sustained for 90 days, will transform your life. The metrics are divided into 3 cycles, days 1 through 30, installation. During this phase, you are simply learning the rhythm. Your goal is to hit 85% compliance for 4 consecutive weeks. Nothing else matters. Not results, not feedback, just execution. Because you are training your nervous system to obey a new pattern. And the nervous system learns through repetition, not through understanding. So, repeat. Do not analyze. Do not question. Just execute. Days 31 through 60, consolidation. During this phase, the rhythm has become familiar. Your goal is to maintain 85% compliance while beginning to track 1 additional metric: value delivered. Each week, ask yourself, did I increase the value of one asset by at least 10%? If yes, mark it. If no, identify why and adjust. This is where the external results begin to appear. Clients respond differently. Opportunities increase. Income rises. And you begin to see that the ritual is not just internal, it is producing external fruit. Days 61 through 90. Ownership. During this phase, the rhythm has become identity. You no longer think about whether you will do the morning ritual. You simply do it. It is who you are. Your goal is to maintain 85% compliance while tracking 2 additional metrics. Systems built and revenue generated. How many systems did you create or refine this month? How much income did those systems produce? These numbers tell the story. They are the scoreboard. And the scoreboard does not lie. Every Sunday at 7 in the evening, you will sit with your journal and conduct the weekly audit. You will review your compliance, you will review your learnings, you will review your metrics, and you will make 1 adjustment for the coming week. Not 10 adjustments. 1. Because 1 small change, executed consistently, compounds into massive transformation. The man who tries to change everything changes nothing. But the man who changes 1 thing every week becomes unrecognizable within a year. And at the end of 90 days, you will perform the final audit. You will look at the man you were on day 1 and the man you are on day 90. You will compare the metrics. You will measure the distance traveled, and you will make a decision. Will you continue this rhythm for another 90 days, or will you return to the life you had before? I already know your answer, because the man who tastes freedom never chooses chains again. The man who feels the power of command never returns to servitude. And the man who sees his own potential realized never settles for mediocrity. Let me paint you one more picture before we close. There was a man who walked into this system broken. His business was failing. His relationships were strained. His belief was shattered. He had tried everything: courses, coaches, strategies. Nothing worked, not because the methods were flawed, because he was inconsistent. He would start strong and fade fast. He would commit and then compromise. He was at war with himself. And in that war, he was losing. Then he found the ritual. He installed the morning practice. He read his aim twice daily. He formed a mastermind. He built his first system. And for the first week, nothing changed. He felt foolish. He felt like he was wasting time. But he did not quit. He obeyed the rhythm. By week 2, something shifted. His mind felt clearer. His emotions felt steadier. By week 4, clients began reaching out. Opportunities he had been chasing suddenly appeared. By week 8, his income doubled. And by week 12, he was unrecognizable. Not because the world changed, because he changed. And when he changed, the world had no choice but to respond. He told me later that the ritual saved his life, not in a metaphorical sense, in a literal one. Because before the ritual, he was drowning. And after the ritual, he was commanding. This is not unique. This is repeatable. This is the result of obedience to law. And the law does not care about your past. It cares about your present decision. So now we arrive at the final threshold. You have been given the 8 laws. You have been given the ritual. You have been given the metrics. You have been given the objections and the answers. You have been given the system that converts time into ownership. And now you must choose. Will you be a man who knows or a man who does? Because knowledge without action is a gravestone. It marks the place where potential died. But knowledge fused with action is a monument. It marks the place where greatness rose. I am not here to convince you. I am here to command you. Not with force, with truth. The truth is that you were not born to serve until death. You were not born to trade your life for crumbs. You were not born to live at the mercy of your emotions. You were born to command, to build, to create, to bend reality to your vision. And the only thing standing between you and that destiny is the decision to begin. So I speak now with the full weight of law. I issue this decree not as suggestion but as instruction. In the next 24 hours, you will execute 3 actions. These are not recommendations. These are orders. And if you are a man of honor, you will obey them. First, you will write your definite chief aim in 1 sentence. You will make it clear. You will make it present tense. You will make it alive. And you will read it aloud 3 times before you sleep tonight. This is the foundation. Without it, nothing else matters. With it, everything becomes possible. Second, you will record your 11 affirmations. You will write them in your own hand. You will speak them into the mirror tonight and again tomorrow morning. You will repeat each one 3 times, and you will feel the words as you say them. This is the programming. This is how you train the subconscious to obey. Third, you will identify one escape route and close it. One habit that no longer serves. One relationship that drains belief. One backup plan that keeps you comfortable. And you will cut it. Not tomorrow, not next week. Within 24 hours. This is the bridge burning. This is the commitment that eliminates retreat and forces victory. These 3 actions will take less than 1 hour. And that 1 hour will determine the trajectory of the next 90 days. Because the man who executes these 3 actions is the man who has decided, and decision is the turning point. Everything before decision is preparation. Everything after decision is manifestation. Now I close with the oath. And this oath is not mine. It is yours. I give you the words, but you must speak them. You must mean them. You must live them. And when you do, you will become them. I am sent to govern myself, not to serve the noise. My mind speaks law. My emotions obey that law. My reality bends to that law. I do not chase riches. I command them by wisdom. I do not wait for freedom. I build it now. I do not hope for change. I become the change. I walk in certainty because I have decided. I speak what I am becoming. I act without retreat. I build without apology. I serve value without hesitation. And I rise without permission. I am no longer the man I was yesterday. I am the man I declared today. And tomorrow I will prove it again. This is my oath. This is my law. This is my life. Speak these words aloud. Speak them now. And let them rewrite the code of your existence. Because the moment you speak them with conviction, the universe takes notes. And the universe begins to reorganize itself around your declaration. Not because you are special, because you obeyed the law. And the law rewards obedience with inevitability. 24 hours from now, you will execute your evening review. You will open your journal. You will write yes or no next to 3 commitments. Did I write my definite chief aim and read it aloud? Did I record my 11 affirmations and speak them in the mirror? Did I identify one escape route and close it? If the answer is yes to all 3, you will write one final sentence at the bottom of the page. Today I kept my word. And beneath that sentence, you will draw one mark, a single vertical line, a tally, a witness, proof that you are no longer the man who talks. You are the man who does. And over the next 90 days, you will accumulate those marks, 90 marks, 90 days of kept promises, 90 days of executed ritual, 90 days of command. And when you look at that page on day 91, you will see something more valuable than gold. You will see evidence. Evidence that you are capable of governing yourself. Evidence that you can be trusted. Evidence that the man you declared is the man you became. And that evidence will carry you into the next chapter with a confidence that cannot be shaken, because it is not based on hope, it is based on proof. I see you now at the mirror on day 91. The sun has not yet risen. The world is still asleep, but you are awake. You stand before the glass. You look yourself in the eyes. And this time, the man looking back is different. His posture is straighter. His gaze is steadier. His voice is deeper. He is no longer performing the ritual. He is the ritual. The words he speaks are not affirmations. They are facts. The vision he holds is not imagination. It is memory. Memory of a future that has already been written. And as he finishes speaking, he reaches to the calendar on the wall. He picks up the pen, and he draws one final mark. Day 90, complete. The system installed. The identity transformed. The world bent. He does not smile. He does not celebrate. He simply nods, because he knows this is not the end. This is the beginning of a life lived by law, a life governed by purpose, a life commanded by belief. And as he turns from the mirror and walks toward the door, the first light of dawn breaks through the window, not as a symbol, as a fact. The darkness is behind him, the light is ahead, and he walks toward it without hesitation, because he has trained himself to command, and the world has no defense against a man who commands himself. This is your inheritance. This is your birthright. This is your destiny, if you claim it. Now go, speak your aim, record your affirmations, burn your bridge, and begin. The clock is ticking. You have 24 hours, and after that, you will be either the man who did or the man who didn't. The choice has always been yours, but the window is closing. Move now, and move without fear, because on the other side of obedience is everything you have ever wanted. I have spoken. Now you must act.